I don't even know where anything is. Hi friends, welcome back. We're doing a 24-hour readathon. We're starting in 2 minutes. It is 10:58. We're gonna start at 11 p.m. I don't know if I've ever successfully done a 24-hour readathon in regards to not sleeping at all. And tonight's not the night that we're gonna do that either. This is the game plan for the next 24 hours.
I'm gonna sleep.
Caleb's gonna go to sleep and rub it in my face. Right now it is Thursday night, okay? We have things we wanted to do on Saturday, but I wanted to film this video. So we're starting at 11 p.m. tonight so that I can go to bed tomorrow at 11 p.m. Caleb's brushing his teeth. Caleb, close your door. All you hear is the mechanical whir of a Sonicare toothbrush. Maybe I'll get a second wind and I won't sleep at all tonight, but there are low hopes for that. If I do sleep, the plan is to only sleep for a few hours, you know? But we're gonna take it as it comes, and we're gonna see how many books I can read in this 24 hours. If you've been following my 5-star Showdown series, it's basically, I made this huge bracket that I'm having my patrons kind of guess what book is going to end up as like one of my favorite books of the year, basically. I picked all these books and this is the next episode in that series, but we're just making it a like chaotic 24-hour reading vlog thing. It's already chaotic. I should have already explained this to you. How the series works is every episode has 3 books in it. All are 5-star predictions for me. One that I chose, one that my patrons chose, and one that general public subscribers chose. And then we're all pitted against each other. At the end, there'll be like a point scoring, see who knows me best, that sort of thing. So far, I am losing. At this point right now, this is episode 2. Ew. I'll link episode 1 down below in the description. It was interesting. In this video, in this episode, we are definitely going to finish the next 3 books in that bracket, and it's focused on horror, okay? My pick for myself is Sundial by Catriona Ward. I've given everything that I've read by her either 4.5 or 5 stars. The Last House on Needless Street is one of my favorite books ever. I love Looking Glass Sound. I don't think that this one will be any different. From my patrons' recommendations, their entry is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. This was specifically recommended by Michaela. I think this is a good choice because I know that it's kind of like a weird psychological horror book and it deals with like the beauty industry. I liked Rouge by Mona Awad, but from what I hear about this book, I think I'll like this one even more. And then for the general public, I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. We Spread by this author was in my top 10 books of the entire year when I read it. So I'm really excited to get to one of his backlists, and I've heard really great things about it. I know they adapted this book. I don't know anything about it really, but it sounds like it could be kind of heavy if that's the title. And this is actually the one that I'm going to be starting with, just some light reading for 11 p.m. at night. I honestly kind of think that I will finish all of these and then have some time left over. So we're going to see what happens once that happens. But Sammy's settling in. I'm gonna go cuddle with him and we're gonna start reading. Once I actually open the book is when I will start the clock, and we're gonna do our best. I'm gonna see how late I can stay up. I'm hoping to finish this one before I sleep. I think that that's pretty doable. Let's see if it happens. I can't move him. Looks like I'm reading on the little mushroom stool for now. Actually, perfect time. Let me show you at almost midnight, the perfect time to unveil my little writing nook. It's not completely done yet, but I have this little nook over here. It's a beautiful, like deep emerald green in the daytime, but I think that I will read in my little writing chair over here, at least until Sammy moves, and then I'll sit in my reading chair. But I just can't move him. Just so you know, we have Sammy on the reading chair and Juno also right here by the mushroom. It's a very calm, cool, collective group at the moment, and I'm really hoping this microphone is working because Caleb's trying to sleep and I'm also not. I am such a huge fan of this little nook that I'm creating. I'm gonna have some floating shelves above the desk. Caleb handcrafted this desk for me, of course. He's an angel, and he's building me a little drawer for this first little cubby right here. I don't know how I found him, but here we go. We're about to get started, folks. We will be starting the clock. Yeah, I kind of figured it was gonna be closer to 11:30 after all was said and done. It is 11:26 right now. I'm not drinking caffeine because I do want to take a little nap in a couple hours, so I just have a bubbly water. A LaCroix, if you will. Did it just go everywhere? Why? How? Cheers. I do remember that We Spread by this author I read so quickly. The formatting of it was really interesting. I'm excited to read this one. I don't know anything about it, so I'm gonna get into it a little bit and then I will come back and update you. But we're starting the clock at 11:30. All I have in my library is my overhead light. The
light itself is really pretty, but it's a little bit harsh. Almost 1 a.m. I've made it to page 131, so I'll definitely over halfway. This book is unsettling. I'm trying not to look outside my windows because I can't see out of them, and this book is a little bit spooky. Basically, we're following our two main characters. Oh my gosh, it's so strange. So we have a female main character. Do we even know their names? I know his name is Jake. I literally don't even know if we know her name, but we're inside our female main character's head, and she's the one that's like thinking of ending things. So obviously the title indicates suicide, so there is some like obviously suicidal ideation. Keep that in mind if you want to pick this book up. But it's also like, it's a horror book, so I think that if you're thinking about picking this book up, then you're well versed enough to handle and cope. But this book is odd. So they were on like a little road trip. They've only been dating for like a month or so, but they were driving to his family's house to meet his parents. They were only there for like a couple hours. They arrived when it was already dark. He took her on this weird little tour of the farmland at night, and then they had this really weird dinner. There's a basement, of course. I don't know, it's all very strange, and I'm uncomfortable. But at this point, they're not at the farmland anymore. There is different formatting in this book, just like We Spread was. Not as often, but there will be like normal pages and then chapters where it's like little dashes and almost like a conversation between at least two people, and those are obviously different parts of the story. And in this more like italicized and dash conversation part of the writing, it's alluding to someone's body being found, and we don't know whose. I don't know, it's all very strange. I think I'm enjoying it a little bit. And obviously it's like a psychological horror, so it's like, am I enjoying it? Probably not really, but I'm not enjoying it entirely, because I think that it is a little bit like stream of consciousness, which I normally do enjoy, but the conversations the two main characters are having are just a little bit nonsensical in some ways. They're not entirely, I don't know, it's like they're trying to be overly insightful for no reason. At least he is. Jake is definitely trying to. He's like kind of philosophical, like I don't trust him. I think he's hiding a lot, obviously. And I just like, I don't think people talk like this. I think it's just a little bit weird. But yeah, I think I could finish the rest of this in like under an hour, and then I'm gonna take a nap. Typically in 24-hour readathons, you guys get the Delulu part like at the end of the video, but you're getting it at the beginning. What a treat. So I'm gonna go finish this book, and I'm really concerned as to my mental state when it's finished. Here we go. It is 1:45 and I've finished I'm Thinking of Ending Things, first book of this video. I'm very tired. I didn't love it, but I didn't not like it either. I think this might be like a solid 3-star for me. 3.5, mayhaps, because the eeriness and the suspense and the atmosphere was done really well. I was like really uncomfortable, really unsettled for many parts. So obviously those parts of the book was very successful, but the overall arc of the plot, I knew what was going on. I was able to deduce the plot twists. My camera's actually overheating, so that's very cool. If it turns off, then I'll talk to you in the morning, but basically to wrap it up, I hope I can sleep so soundly tonight and not have to worry about anything going on in my dreams. Read this for atmosphere and eerie sort of psychological horror, but I do have other books that I would recommend in place of this one for sure. I would recommend Last House on Needless Street in place of this one, in my humble opinion. But I still actually really did like this, so I think I will go with a 3.5 as my final rating. So now I'm gonna go take a quick little snooze, and then when I wake up, I'll see what other type of horror I want to put myself through. I got like roughly 4 hours of sleep, which I think is good enough for a challenge like this and enough for me to function for the rest of the day for sure. I'll just drink some extra coffee and it'll be great. Really quick, just let me say, I'm Thinking of Ending Things was a choice to read as the like nighttime activity. Like, I don't think you understand that I had to come downstairs in the middle of the night after I had finished reading and I was scared. Juno came out of the kitchen and I had the flashlight on my phone on, and you know how cats' eyes do that like luminescent thing, and she's a black cat, so all I saw were the eyes. Yeah, I was unwell. And I have further thought about I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I definitely am going to end on a 3.5. I think my initial thoughts and feelings are accurate. I just want to reiterate that the actual trajectory of that plot, even though like I knew where it was going, I think it was still done really well. I just didn't love the like conversational aspect between the two main characters. I was just not really getting much from it. But the actual like eeriness of the book, like, hi Sammy, it was done really well. So I like it, didn't love it. I think I'm solid on a 3.5. We have started Sundial now, book 2 of this video and the 5-star Showdown. Sundial is my prediction. I have made it to page 85 already this morning. Kaitlyn Ward is a really interesting writer and I have really loved everything that I've read by her. This one will be interesting because there is a child that has a point of view, and reading from a kid's point of view is kind of hit or miss for me. I'm not loving it so far, but I'm like not liking it. So the plot is our main character, Rob. She is in a really toxic marriage with her husband, Irv. Isn't it Irv? Yeah. Irving. So they have a really horrible marriage and I don't know, they're abusive to each other, but they have 2 daughters, Annie and Callie. And Callie is sort of like the trouble child. She is, let me see what the synopsis says so I know what I can and cannot tell you. Okay, good. I wanted to tell you that, but I didn't want to spoil anything because Rob, the mother, is scared for Callie, the oldest daughter, because she finds tiny bones and whispers to imaginary friends. It says, Rob sees a darkness in Callie, one that reminds her too much of the family she left behind. And it's kind of the situation where Rob has never felt close to Callie. Like, she kind of doesn't understand how to connect with her, and I think it's because she sees too much of herself in her, that sort of situation. And Rob's family is from the, I think, Mojave Desert, and they have a place called Sundial. It's like where she grew up. So Rob has decided to take Callie out to Sundial and try to like get through to Callie, basically, on like what's going on. And it alludes to like both of them know that only one of them will leave Sundial alive. And so it has an interesting setup. I think in like typical Kaitlyn Ward fashion, it is just sort of like slowly building, not too many overtly disturbing things, but it's eerie and it's alluding to what is to come, which is nothing good. So right now, time check, it is 9:21. I have had my first cup of coffee. I am going to walk Avi here in a minute. Sammy's just hanging out. You know, we're in for it today. Caleb has to work pretty much all day until like at least 5 or 6. So we've got the full day to ourselves. The plan at some point is to go ship a Pango order. Someone bought a book, and probably get like a nice coffee to boost morale. Avi will come along with that. We'll probably go for another WALK at that time. Oh, you can spell now? She can spell now. Very good. But yeah, I'm gonna go take her out and continue to listen to this because I have it on audio from Libby. But I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think I have anything really positive or necessarily negative to say. Kaitlyn Ward's books are typically like, again, a slow build until it's like really wild and weird and out there. So I'm excited. I think that I chose the right order of operations for this video, even though last night was a little bit scary. Okay. It is 12:54 and I just finished Sundial.
It was fine. I don't know. I guess honestly, it wasn't fine though. I didn't really love this for a couple reasons. There's a lot of really dark subject matter talked about in this one. So look up trigger warnings if you're thinking about picking this up. And it's not like anything was overtly triggering for me, but like everything was just so dark that I just kind of like feel gross. Particularly when there are things about like dogs and animals. Like I just don't care to read about it. You know, I just don't care for it. Like in any type of book, but especially in horror. It's just not something that, you know, does anything for me other than makes me just feel awful. I won't go into spoilers, but just at this desert place that our main character grew up, there are some things going on. There's some dark lore into our main character's upbringing. And I just like, I don't know, a lot of the story felt disjointed. It was dual timeline. We went back to see how, I already forgot her name, how Rob like grew up. And those parts were really, really long. Like I was expecting them to just be like short little flashbacks, but like half the book was set in the past timeline and half the book was in the present timeline. And, you know, towards the end, it's like all of the past timeline was completely necessary for what this story was. So it made sense later, but I don't know, wasn't expecting it, wasn't really enjoying it. The plot twist didn't really surprise me at all. And the like suspense wasn't really there enough for me to feel like all of the other things that I didn't like were worth it. You know what I'm saying? Wow, I'm really just not doing well for my own picks for myself in this series so far. I can't really tell if I'm gonna give this a 2.5 or a 3, honestly. That one will probably have to sit with me and I'll tell you the final at the end of the video, I suppose. This is definitely a book that I will not keep. It's one that I'll probably happily forget about after I do my wrap up for this month. But yeah, I don't know, it just didn't really feel worth it at all. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, we're gonna take like an hour break before we start Natural Beauty, which I'm really excited about. I think I am going to really enjoy this. We will discuss what it's about once I begin. But Avi and I are actually going to go ship a Pango order, grab some coffee, a loaf of bread from a local bakery, and then we'll probably go for a really hot girl hot dog walk, you know? Because it's like 95 degrees outside. But yeah, I'm just really hoping that this one turns the vlog around, so here's to hoping. To what we all thought was gonna happen, I did actually like get ready today. And one of my patrons sent me a surprise gift. I don't know what it is. She said that there's also another one on the way. I don't know what's happening, but let's see what it is. It feels like an item of clothing. Okay, this blue is stunning. Why am I scared? Aww. It's the way that I'm gonna cry. This is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Guys. Well, okay, first of all, it's a Comfort Colors shirt, which is the best, and it's a little, look at how little they are, and I love it. They're embroidered whales. Look at them. Look at how cute. This one in the middle actually looks identical to my tattoo. Wow, what a time to be alive. This is so cute. I'm so obsessed with how small they are. Wow. Thank you so much, Ocean. This is my new favorite shirt, period. I love the color so much. Aww. Wow, adorable. I know what I'm changing into later. Look, just look at them. Look at them one more time. Wow. Oh my God, they're so cute. In reading news, I just ate my lunch. It was very tasty. And I started Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Wang. This is the book that was recommended by my patrons. How cool would that be if Ocean was one of the people that recommended this? How opportune. No, this was recommended by Michaela, but I know that more than one person has recommended this to me in the past from my Patreon. Something that makes this process a little bit difficult is there is overlap between books that I think that I'll rate 5 stars and books that like other people are recommending to me. Like I thought Sundial could be 5 stars, and Sundial was also recommended by quite a few patrons when I was collecting data, but I decided to use it as my own pick since there were other books recommended by my patrons that I also wanted to read, like Natural Beauty. So within this whole bracket, there is a little bit of crossover every now and then, but here we have Natural Beauty. I've made it chapter 3, that's page 17, so not too far yet, but I do know that it is a like psychological horror focused on the beauty industry and what we'll give in order to like, you know, become perfect in the eyes of society. I already like these sort of like play on words that we're getting. The beauty place that we're like experiencing in the book is called Holistic, but it's spelled Holistik. And one of the main people's names is Sage, but spelled Saje. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek in some ways, like almost on the nose, but in a like subtle way, if you can be on the nose but subtly. And I don't think we know our main character's first name. It just says our narrator, and then on page 6 she's mentioned as the Rachmaninoff girl because she was in this place called the Conservatory playing like classical or professional piano, but she had to stop in order to help family with bills. So now she's getting a job at this beauty place, and she's sort of like handpicked to work there from whatever place she was working at before. Someone was shopping and noticed her and was like, hey, you would be perfect to work at our beauty place, blah, 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 blah. She mentioned she feels like a diversity hire and to like upsell the hand creams because of her like piano nimble fingers. I'm really looking forward to this book because it came out around the same time as Rouge by Mona Awad, and I really loved the discussions that that book gave, and I think that a lot of people prefer this one to Rouge, which is why I'm really looking forward to it, because there were a lot of aspects about Rouge that I didn't really like, but the general consensus is that this one is a little bit better. So I'm excited about that because I really like these conversations about the beauty industry and what we are supposed to look like or what we are supposed to be doing in order to look a certain way, like what is the standard of pretty and all of these things. I think it's really interesting and I think it's worthwhile. So yeah, I'm going to sit and get pretty far into this and then I'll come back and update you. It is 2:45 right now. Hi, hello. It is 7:18 right now, and I just got to chapter 25, which is basically page 200. I'm almost done. I have like 30 minutes left of it, and I have to update you before I read these last like 50 pages or so, because it's starting to become very unhinged, which I was kind of expecting based on what I've heard about the book. Let's back up. Yeah, this book is wild. I think the last 50 pages are just gonna be insanely like fever dreamy. So let me just give you my thoughtful thoughts right now. I think this book is doing a really, really good job at talking about like unattainable beauty standards, the racism in the beauty industry, things like as simple as making the girls change their names because their names are too hard for customers to pronounce. And therefore they need to change their names while they're at work so that they can sell more products. Like stupid things like that. And what I wanted to talk about like 50 pages ago was that I'm a very visual person, so some of the location changes in the story and like visuals that Ling Ling Huang is describing is very difficult for my mind to picture and wrap around because these things just, they don't exist. So like I'm having to create them in my head, and we're not given like the whole gambit of descriptions that I need to create that picture. So there's been a couple times in the book where I am a little bit confused, a little bit lost, and that's just because of how my brain is like receiving information. But we've gotten to the point where it's becoming just weird the whole time, and my mind has now adapted to just literally be here for the vibes and just experience it, which is literally what you have to do when you read weird books like this. and it's working. One thing that I wanted to mention that I really liked, there was like a little scene that I thought was really, really thoughtful. It's not a spoiler, it's just like a little moment, okay? She has this moment where she goes and gets like a hot green tea, and it like literally brings her back to herself for a brief moment, because she realizes that she has been in this holistic world with all of these beauty things like submerged in it basically for so long, that having a green tea from just a normal cafe where she doesn't know where like the leaves were sustainably sourced from and blah 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 blah, just like a normal green tea that we buy from like anywhere, drinking it made her feel more like lucid and present. And I thought that was a really nice addition to the story, because it kind of gave us that juxtaposition of what she's going through and what we as people who are constantly influenced by this industry might experience. I don't know. I liked it. Things are getting weird, so I'm gonna go finish and I'll come back and let you know. Good morning. If you hear crinkles, it's because Sammy's playing with a cat toy. I did indeed finish Natural Beauty last night before 11:30. I think I finished it right at 11 actually. But hi, we're here to close out the vlog, kind of give you my final rating and thoughts on Natural Beauty really quick before we talk about the video as a whole. It was almost there. It was almost there for me. This is definitely my favorite book of this video, and I'm going to be giving it, I think, either a 4 or 4.5. It kind of feels like a solid 4 for me, because this is really good. I really liked the writing. I'd be really excited to pick up any book that the author writes from here on out. My hesitations on it are literally just a few small things. I think that the descriptions could have been even more like atmospheric or eerie. Sometimes they were perfect, you know, like there were certain scenes with Helen towards the end specifically that, you know, were really, really well written. I enjoyed it, but I almost wanted other parts to even go further, you know? But the biggest thing is something that I kind of already touched on. It's the fact that some scenes, sorry, my allergy pill hasn't kicked in yet. Since some of these scenes were in places that are made up and we actually don't know what the places look like, it was a little bit difficult for me to visualize. And I mentioned earlier that I'm a very visual person, so if I can't visualize something, I don't know, it makes the reading experience not as good as it could be for me. So I really, really appreciate when books are like super descriptive and are able to paint the picture. Some scenes were kind of just like dropped in the middle of what's happening. It's not like at the beginning of the chapter we're like slowly waking up and like learning where we're at, describing what it looks like, what it smells like, what it feels like, all of these things. Sometimes we were just literally dropped into a situation and we were just like in the thick of it. Things are already happening, and I get that it's sort of like chaotic, and you know that could add to the uneasy feeling. I totally get that. But in situations when we're in a place that doesn't exist, I would love a little bit more description so that it adds to the reading experience for me, you know, personally as a reader. I think also, this was my other point, I was looking at Goodreads reviews of this book and so many people were like, wow, those last 50 pages, like I couldn't pick my jaw up off the ground. Like so many people were saying that, and I think that gave me unrealistic expectations because I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm like waiting for something absolutely insane to happen. And you know, there are great plot twists at the end. I enjoyed the ending, but it was nothing that I was like blown away by. So I think that I did myself a disservice by reading those reviews, because I was then like let down a little bit because I was expecting something like completely out of this world, and you know, it's never good when you put those expectations on a book. So I don't want to compare this to Rouge too much in this video, but I think that it's worthwhile to just mention what I was missing from this book were the descriptors and atmospheric eerie feelings that Mona Awad was able to do with Rouge in the scenes where they were in the like medical spa in that book. But I liked this writing for the entire story way more than Rouge. Rouge had some weird flashback dual timeline things that I hated. So overall, I like this book better, but it is missing or lacking a few things that I really wanted. Overall, would definitely recommend. I think that the conversations in here are really worthwhile, and I think that I'm gonna settle on a 4. And that means in this video, for 24 hours, I was able to read 751 pages, which is respectable. You know, I think that that's pretty good. I think it could have been better. I definitely could have read a whole other book. I was planning on reading a whole nother book, but you know,
It was Friday. I wanted to play some Animal Crossing and I wanted to go out and get some coffee. But I'm really happy with how this video turned out because I think that it was a good trial run for like a legit 24-hour readathon. So let me know down below if you would be interested in seeing like where I don't sleep. God, I think that would be awful, but I would be willing to try. In terms of the 5-star showdown bracket, let's talk about points, okay? Obviously, Natural Beauty is the winner of this video, so that means that Patreon, my greenhouse, won this video, which is really exciting. I, once again, am coming in last. So I ended up giving Sundial a 3, Natural Beauty a 4, and then I'm thinking of ending things a 3.5. So new totals, I have 4 points, the greenhouse has 8 points, and then the public has 8.5 points. So you guys are winning by 0.5, okay? At the end of episode 2, you've pulled ahead just a little bit. So be on the lookout for the next episode in this series. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. Let me know down below if you liked any of these books. If you don't know what else to say, then just leave me the surprised face emoji. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.